Overreaction Tuesday with Rich Eisen. So Rich Eisen is going to get a bunch of overreaction topics. He will react to that, and then we will react to him reacting to that. Reactception, as some would say.
Over there.
Hey,
what do you
guys.
got?
How's it going?
What do you have?
Tuesday. Hey, what's up? You know what, Rich? At full strength, the 49ers are the best team in the NFL.
Probably the best roster in the NFL at full strength, especially if Brock Purdy is playing at an MVP level, which he currently is. Yes, I would say roster-wise, highest level of play, the Niners, if they can get there, they are the best team in the NFL. The question is, can they get there? Can they sustain being there? Can they navigate the injuries? Can they navigate inconsistent play? But at the top level, the highest level this season, the highest level of play we've seen has been from the Niners.
I mean, you can make that argument. You know, at full strength, they're the best team in the NFL. Yeah. I don't think that's an overreaction.
Nope.
And I know that the Eagles started the conversation off on this show today, saying that they're the best team in the NFL because they just beat the Chiefs and they're 9-1. That's the narrative coming out of it. 2 weeks from now, we'll see if this is an overreaction or not. Assuming and hopefully for them that they're full strength, Hufanga is going to be out for the season.
Yeah, the Niners have injuries, and Hufanga being out, I mean, you're talking about an all-pro safety, so they aren't at full strength. That's one of those things where, like, we're not going to know. They're not at full strength because they already lost one of their best defensive players for the season.
And the other thing that we know is completely full strength is the work staff here on the campus that we're on, because there's some dude who stopped in just literally the one. No, you could put on camera. I don't care. The one spot that he could be on camera to stop to text somebody, he has done so right over my right shoulder. Oh, there's somebody right there too.
Hey, there's a guy right there. That's a man right there.
Hold on a second.
The thing is, they can't see in here. That's funny, so they don't know.
Unbelievable stuff we're watching here, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice, well done, Rich.
I feel better.
Well done.
What do you got over there, Chris?
There's like a room right there.
I understand. It's their workspace. It's our workspace.
And they can't see in either. That's
all I'm saying is that when we're full strength, there's no better show than the Rich Eisen show.
Oh, well, hold on a second. This show right here.
I'm watching that game last night. I've been watching it.
At full strength, I think everyone would admit this channel is doing things that no one else can do. This is the best channel on YouTube, or really just in the media space as a whole.
All the Eagles games this year. I have AJ Brown in fantasy.
Yes.
Didn't love the one catch last night.
It didn't help me out in fantasy either, except for the fact I beat Murph anyway.
Hey.
Shows off the rails.
That is so fun to say.
Murph. Oh man. DeAndre Swift. He's been the best offseason acquisition in the league this year.
Oh, interesting. He's been really good. He has been a revelation in Philadelphia. He's exactly what Philadelphia needs. It's kind of crazy. At the beginning of the year, they weren't really using him. At the beginning of the year, it was like, oh, maybe Kenneth Gainwell, maybe whatever. But no, DeAndre Swift has been really, really good. I'd have to see a list of like the best offseason acquisitions. So, is he the best? No doubt about it. I'm not totally sure, but he has probably been the most impactful for a really good team. I mean, could someone else have stepped in and done what DeAndre Swift is doing with how good Philadelphia's scheme is and their offensive line? Maybe, but can't fault him for that. He has done a hell of a job in his new role.
Let's think about it.
That dude has changed.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. Let's think about it. Who else is there? The quarterbacks. Jimmy G, not so much. Derek Carr, not yet.
No.
Baker Mayfield's been good, but not yet.
Can't even say Rodgers. Rodgers got hurt.
Aaron Rodgers, I mean, come on now.
Incomplete.
What else? DeAndre Hopkins. Who else? Odell Beckham. Who else? I think you're on it, pal.
Doesn't it kind of go to show what I always say about offense, though? That he just named every single one of the offensive acquisitions he named was offense. Every single one. He did not name a single defensive acquisition. I'm pretty sure there wasn't 0 defensive acquisitions. It just goes to show you how this game is viewed. It is an offense-oriented game. It is an offense-driven league. Rich Eisen. No one covers the NFL more than Rich Eisen. And everything he just rattled off. He got all the way to Odell Beckham. Didn't name a single defensive player.
I mean, that draft night, we knew it too. We knew it too. We're sitting there in Kansas City. It's like DeAndre Swift has been traded for a fifth, and where is he going? Philadelphia. Like, okay.
Yep.
690 yards rushing. By the way, don't even count week one. He had one carry in week one. So since then,
awesome.
He wasn't even a
690
starter.
yards, 5 yards a carry, 200 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns.
So good.
Everybody who drafted Rashad Penny also.
Right? Thought it was going to be Penny season.
Yeah,
Not even
Penny.
close.
Yeah, it was always somebody else.
I'll say that's you're spot on there, pal.
He's been awesome.
What else you got?
You know, for the first time in 5 years.
Yes, sir.
The road to the Super Bowl in the AFC, not going through Arrowhead.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it weeks now. Kansas City cannot win with the wide receivers that they have. They cannot win with the weapons that they have. Too many drops. Nothing for Mahomes. Now, will they not be the 1 seed? I think right now Baltimore is the 1 seed. You know, I had to look at the schedule, but I don't think Kansas City is the best team. I do not believe Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. So, if that's the answer, if that's the question, then yeah, I agree. The road to the Super Bowl in the AFC does not go through Arrowhead. I think we're going to see some parity. I think we're going to see, right now, this is controversial but brave. Right now, I have more faith in the Buffalo Bills than I do the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dude, that's an overreaction. Everybody who's taking in the show right now, stay tuned for my take on the Chiefs coming out of the Monday Nighter at the top of the next hour. And if you're
The reason why I don't think this is an overreaction is I don't think there's an answer. The Chiefs can't go get anybody. They've already messed up. They've already let this go on too long. They can't go and find a new receiver to save them. They can't go and find a playmaker. They have to make do with Kadarius Toney, MVS, Justin Watson, Sky Moore. They have to make do with these guys.
watching this segment back on our YouTube stream, or you're watching it maybe on the Roku channel collection page, just stay tuned to the top of the next hour.
This is actually a tweak. This wasn't even my original Chiefs
Because
take.
I'll just tell you now, okay?
The offense isn't good enough to win the Super Bowl.
I'll just give it to you right now. The Chiefs may wind up the end of this regular season 14-3. Talk to me then. So there's
win out?
that.
You're calling win out right now?
Yeah.
Just stay tuned for it.
I don't know about that.
Now that you can call that an overreaction.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
too.
no.
13-4.
I think too many people are just saying, you know what, Patrick Mahomes will find a way. You know what, Andy Reid will find a way. You know what, this Chiefs team, they just win. But I think they're so backed into a corner with the weapons and the playmakers and all that stuff. It doesn't matter how great those guys are, and they are great. Patrick Mahomes might end up being the best quarterback to ever play the game, but they aren't good enough to overcome the wide receivers that they currently have in today's landscape of the NFL.
Maybe their final record anyway if they don't win out. So everybody's just freaking out right now, hair on fire, or hands in the ice bin, you know. Kansas City Chiefs scissor hands. Everyone's freaking. Just
A lot of questions about
take a
that.
beat. That's an overreaction.
Pause.
What else do you have over there, Chris?
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, TJ. This
Just
is
look at the schedule,
this is
which
for
we
you.
will at the top of in our next segment. What else, Chris?
TJ. You're welcome. Early Thanksgiving present.
Let's go.
Everybody's sleeping on the Cowboys as legit Super Bowl contenders.
Now, I'm certainly one of the people who would be, quote unquote, sleeping on the Cowboys as legit Super Bowl contenders. Every single week during my power ranking segment, I always say, look, they're a top 10 team. They can beat up on bad teams, but they cannot win the Super Bowl. I still believe that. I don't think they're going to beat San Francisco in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to beat Philadelphia in the playoffs. Dallas is a dangerous team. Dallas is a good team. Super Bowl contenders, I would be absolutely shocked if Dallas found a way to all of a sudden overcome their lack of playoff success. I do not think they are Super Bowl contenders. I think they're talented. I think they're good, but not Super Bowl contenders.
Who's sleeping on them as legit Super Bowl contenders? Who's
Me,
sleeping on
I
them?
am. I am.
Who's sleeping on
Who's talking about the Cowboys as making the Super Bowl?
I'm happy with that, though.
Eagles,
damn act together.
Chiefs, Ravens,
Ravens,
49ers. That's all you hear.
Yep.
It's Dak's time.
Okay, so let me give you
The curse is lifted.
Not to mention, don't forget this, as it stands right now, they would have to go on the road because Philadelphia is going to win the division, right? Do we think Dallas is going to have a better record than, like, how good is their record going to be? So is Dallas going to beat San Francisco on the road? Are they going to beat Philly on the road in the playoffs? I don't think so. Their first game will be on the road. I'm pretty sure right now Dallas would be coming to New Orleans. I'm pretty sure that's their first game. It'd be in the Dome. So you're going to tell me that Dallas is going to go to New Orleans, win on the road, then go to Philadelphia, win on the road, then go to, it's not set up for them to win. Can they? Can they win? Anybody can win any given Sunday, right? But I just, they're bullies. This is what Dallas does. And it's crazy that people fall for this, where Dallas beats Carolina by 20 points. And it's like, whoa, man, maybe they'll win the Super Bowl. But were people saying this when they got steamrolled by 40 points against San Francisco? No.
Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson.
Dude, now you know he's being an ass.
This was too good to be true.
By the way,
Going into the Ring of Honor. The curse is over. 30-year curse done. Dak bringing it home for the boys.
He's sounding like Kyle Brandt at a 5th grade mixer.
I'm glad I didn't take the cheese
That's
right
fake.
there, Rich.
You're fake.
Wow.
You're being fake. He doesn't mean what he's saying right now. Don't worry about it.
I'll just say this, man. We beat 2 teams last 2 weeks that we should have beat up on.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done.
That's all they do.
But that's what the Cowboys have been
Dak
having
and
problems with.
CD.
Yeah.
This Thanksgiving game, with Washington coming in, having just lost to the Giants, this is exactly the Thanksgiving turkey that the Cowboys usually unfold for the country.
Spank-a-lanka 40 burger coming on Thanksgiving.
Let's see it.
Yeah, they're 11-point favorites.
And then there's Seattle. In 2 Sundays after Thanksgiving,
Philly?
we'll all be around the television sets, tuning in to NBC to see Philadelphia at Dallas. Rubber meets the road on this conversation. I think they're Super Bowl contenders right now, but let's just see how it plays out. For the moment, I'll say, okay, if you think people are sleeping on them, I'll buy it.
Well,
We're not here.
I am.
Grease board. You are being.
I am openly sleeping on them.
Disrespectful.
What's more of an overreaction? What's more of an overreaction? That you think everybody's sleeping on the Cowboys, or that we think that you don't mean what you're saying?
The latter.
Okay. What else?
There's less pie.
Thank you.
Disrespectful to me.
There is less pie.
A couple days I will be.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Very good Thanksgiving drop.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It happened this morning by firing Matt Canada. The Steelers just saved their season.
Dude.
They took their season in a positive direction because of getting rid of Canada. I think because of the Browns game, because it's just gotten to the point where they cannot get any worse on offense. I think they were slowly losing the locker room. Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest motivators in coaching history. I think this is a perfect move from the Steelers. Burrow goes down for the Bengals. Watson goes down for the Browns. The Steelers now are thinking, look, if we can kind of turn this thing around, if we can get the team fired up enough, maybe we can find ourselves into the playoffs. They have been a disaster. They were going nowhere fast. Very good move from Tomlin, who said the decision was his and his alone. So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to pull the strings. Great move by Pittsburgh. Save their season might be strong because where are they really going? But I do think this was a good move. And if they were on a nosedive, this is enough to stop the bleeding at least.
By the way, on the Overreaction Monday podcast, he said the Steelers the first subject out of the gate was the Steelers' offensive woes will cost them a playoff spot. So to be consistent,
it probably already
now
has.
that
It probably already
Canada was
I
whoever
said,
believes is the reason
hey.
for the offensive woes. It's not the quarterback potentially still struggling to learn how to play the game. It's not because of anything else. It's the offensive coordinator. Now that he's gone, they just saved the season. They're in the playoffs. So you're being consistent.
That's what I said. Look, I said.
That would be my big point of contention with this is what does save the season mean? If you're telling me this turns them into a real threat in the AFC, I would say no. Are you telling me this is going to make them a playoff team? And I'm not even sure about all that, but it does make them better. It does stop the kind of downward spiral they were on.
Their season. And I said yesterday, to be consistent, it was an overreaction that their offensive woes would cost them a playoff spot because I think their defense is that good. They also, by the way, still have a shot. I know they're 2 behind the Ravens, but if they sweep them later on, if they beat them again, they would sweep the season series. They still have a shot at the division title.
I think that's why they made this move. It's like a last-ditch effort of we probably need to make this move anyways. Let's go ahead and make the move, and then if we can really get lucky, we might be able to win this division. Worst case scenario, we do something that we would have done anyway. So it's one of those there's no real lose if you're the Steelers, we're getting rid of Canada.
It doesn't look good. So I will just say that this is an overreaction because I thought that they were going to make the playoffs anyway. But I understand what you're saying.
Now you're being consistent.
And Mike Tomlin said it was his decision and his decision alone.
Yeah, I already said that, Rich. I said that.
What else you got over
10
there?
seconds ago.
All right. Despite looking back against the Jets, schedule's too tough for the Bills to make the playoffs.
It is not, because they get KC and Philly, I believe, in weak spots. I think Buffalo, it is tough. If Buffalo loses those games, then the season's over. But if they win those games, then all of a sudden they're right back in there. So I don't think it's too tough. I think Buffalo is people are kind of sleeping on Buffalo right now. I think Buffalo could, they're not a team you want to face in the AFC, but it comes down to those two games.
I would agree with it. I'd agree with it. And I understand how good they looked against the Jets. They're going into Philadelphia. That team with the grit and determination that we saw last night, what they did with Mahomes. Okay.
0 points in the second half.
See, I think you could say the same for Philly, where you could not miss the playoffs. But I think you could say the schedule is too tough for Philly to win the division. You can make an argument that because their schedule is so tough, I mean, granted, now they're 9-1. Like, maybe it's a little late for that. But Buffalo, they just have to focus in on those two games. If they can get those two games, Buffalo is going to be, I guarantee you this. If they win those two games, you're going to hear a lot of people all of a sudden saying Buffalo's a Super Bowl team. Buffalo's a real contender. Buffalo's a sleeping giant. Buffalo did this. Buffalo did that. I'm saying it beforehand. I think they win those games. I may go try and monetize the Bills for an AFC championship or a Super Bowl run, because I think I like to try and find teams who everything lines up to like one or two situations. Buffalo's one or two situations. So if they win those two games, good to go. If they get that's why I got Oregon to win the national championship. I got a ticket on Oregon because they have one decision point. The decision point is, will they beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship? Because I believe if they win that game, they'll go to the playoffs, right? So I've basically taken like a 6-week chunk of the season, and I've boiled it down to one game. That's how I look at it. So now, then I can profit if Oregon does that, because the ticket I have is like 16-1 or something for Oregon to win the title. Bills are the same way. We're taking a 7-8 week chunk of the season, and we've boiled it down into like two games, where I don't know the Bills' odds off the top of my head right now, but if they win those two games, you're pretty much free and clear, is how I look at it. So, if they lose those games, it's a moot point, but that's kind of the whole strategy.
Look out. That's all I'm
saying.
saying.
Free betting tips for you right there.
The train whistles in Western New York will not be there in Philadelphia. So they're going to have to play a perfect game to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And then after that, they've got the Dallas Cowboys at home, a visit out here to Los Angeles, and then that last game at Miami.
Stuff.
Yeah. It's they're 6-5 though. I mean, who can they catch? They can catch the Steelers, maybe.
They could catch.
Oh
the
yeah,
Steelers,
hell
right?
yeah.
It's possible, but I don't think this is an overreaction. I think that this is definitely a viable thought.
So Bills are 8th. They're behind Pittsburgh 6-4, Houston 6-4, Cleveland 7-3.
I think Houston might, even if Houston loses.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Cleveland with DTR. You're looking at Pittsburgh with how bad they are, and then it's like, do you trust Houston to be this consistent? I don't know. So the teams that they have to catch, again, Pittsburgh, LOL, DTR or PJ Walker led Browns, and then Houston. It's not like they're trying to catch the Chiefs. They're not trying to catch these like freight train teams. They're trying to catch teams that do not have a good situation with the quarterbacks or with whatever's going on.
Jacksonville this weekend, I think Houston is definitely going to win more than they lose. I think it's going to be real tough for the Bills. What else, Chris?
Last one. Seahawks stumbling at the worst time. They're going to miss the playoffs.
They are stumbling at the worst time. They're stumbling at the back half of the year, and they have an injury to Geno. Sounds like he might play this week against the Niners, but who knows? I do agree that they're stumbling at the wrong time. Will they miss the playoffs? Possibly. Possibly, because if they do stumble enough and all of a sudden they're like a 9-win team, does that get them in? I don't think so.
Geno banged up, Ken Walker banged up.
Can you put up the NFC standings, please?
Yeah, put it up.
Here's why I don't believe in this, and I'll just say that that's an overreaction. Okay, they have 3 very difficult games.
Off the top of my head, I was just about to say, off the top of my head, you've got, so the team, who would catch them? Yeah, I mean, maybe not. Maybe not because of how bad the rest. It would have to be Atlanta. Atlanta would have to stumble their way into 9 wins or something, and Seattle would have to stumble, because I think the Eagles, Lions, Niners, Cowboys are probably locks. And then you have the Saints or the Falcons are a lock because they have to win the division. So Minnesota, are they a lock? Maybe, just because I don't know if they're a lock though. I don't know. I mean, I do think they're stumbling, but if you look at this, it's hard to imagine, because let's say Atlanta loses to the Saints, which I think they will. Then Atlanta's 4-7. Atlanta has to get real hot at 4-7. They have to get real hot to even catch Seattle. So maybe Seattle, even if I'd have to look at their schedule, but I mean, if they win 3 games the rest of the way, they're probably in. If they win 4, they're probably guaranteed to be in.
Games coming up. See the step down, into sniffing it from the wild card.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. To go, if there was one, if Green Bay was, or maybe not Green Bay, if Tampa or somebody else was, around 6 wins, but the drop from the division, the wild card, to the sniffing it group, I mean, 4-6, 4-6, 4-6, 4-6, 4-7, and Atlanta will probably be 4-7. I think Seattle loses on Thanksgiving, so they're kind of 6-5 here. But even them, you're talking about 6-5. Atlanta's 4-7. Yeah, I don't know if they missed the playoffs, but they're definitely stumbling towards the end of the season.
It's a Lulu. There are no 5-5 teams in the sniffing it category in the NFC like there is a whole slew in the AFC.
Yeah.
They'd really have to fall and not be able to get total first alert here.
Complete collapse.
I know, twice. Wrapped around a visit to Dallas.
That could be 3 straight losses. And
I get it.
Suddenly
So 6-7, which put them in the sniffing it mosh pit with a whole bunch of these other ones the problem is that they don't have a tiebreak against the Rams.
I think Seattle, because the Rams are kind of falling apart too. As far as like Cooper Kupp's hurt now, and so Seattle basically has to win, I would say, 3 games. If they can find a way to win 3 games the rest of the way, they'll be okay.
Packers get hot. Rams get going.
I just think the Seahawks overall are too good to fall out of.
Yeah,
they're too good to fall out of 7.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah,
that's the math.
Both is right. They are stumbling, but they won't miss the playoffs.
I'll call that an overreaction at present. And that's over.
All right, good stuff. Let me know in the comments below where you come down on this. A lot of great topics. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.